and welcome to the October 2nd, 2023 meeting of the Reston Community Center Board of Governors. We're now called to order. First order of business is approval of the agenda.
So moved. Second.
It's been moved and second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Next order of business is the approval of the minutes from September 11th.
So moved. Second.
Been moved and second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Next order of business is, I was waiting for somebody, I don't know why. Approval of September 11th board actions.
So moved. Second.
It's been moved and second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed?
Yeah, can you abstain? I wasn't there.
I was absent.
Yes, you were absent.
Okay, yes, you can abstain.
Yes, you're allowed.
Yeah.
Next order of business is the chair's remarks. Yeah, it's been interesting. I did my Ali concert on Thursday. And a lot of my friends come, and then there's some people who come just to see if I'm gonna make it. They just come and they say, how do you still have a voice? I don't know. Why am I so, but Marilyn May, I just saw in the, I was reading the New York cabaret stuff, and she's 95.
Oh, wow.
And is doing another gig at club, at 54, what is it called, 54 downstairs, below 54.
Wow.
95.
And I don't know what age she admits to now, but Leslie Uggams is also gonna be there later this month. Cause I always thought Diana Ross was older than me, but whatever.
Like Tony Bennett. He was giving concerts in his 90s.
Oh, yeah, cause there are quite a few cabaret people who were in their 90s.
We sound in velvet voices.
Yeah, no, but that wasn't the reason I was talking about it. It was the fact is that it seems like years, I thought I was the same age as a lot of people. Who somehow are now a lot younger than me. I don't know how this works. But I have a nice poem here that moved quite a few people. I incorporated poetry in my show this week. And this one is called, I Still Matter, I'm Still Here. My looks are nothing special, my face reveals my age. My body shows some wear and tear, and my energy is not the same. Too often my memory fails me, and I lose things all the time. One minute I know what I plan to do, and the next may just have slipped my mind. I try hard to avoid my mirror. That was interesting, because that was one of the
Yes.
things in the Kutenka thing. We're all on that same wavelength. I try hard to avoid my mirror. There are things I would rather not see. And even those times when I just catch a glance, I can no longer recognize me. The things I used to do with ease can now cause aches and pains. And the quality of the things I do will never be quite the same. I always compare my older self to those younger versions of me, and I know I'm wasting too much time missing who I used to be. But the thing that really makes me sad is despite what people see, underneath my tattered, worn-out shell, I'm still the same old me. My heart can still feel endless love, and at times it still can ache. My heart can fill with so much joy, and then it can suddenly break. My soul can still feel sympathy and longs for forgiveness and peace. And there are times its light shines boldly through, and times when it longs for release. It's true, maybe now that I'm older, feeling lonely may be status quo, but it also has made me more willing to forgive and let past conflicts go. So maybe to some I look ugly and old, a person who barely exists. I'm still quite aware of the beauty inside, and my value should not be dismissed. So although not as strong and no beauty, it's true, I'm still here, and I want so much to live, and I know there's no one in the world quite like me, and no one who has more to give. Next order of business is introduction of visitors. Next order of business is citizen input. Oh, we're moving right along.
Yes, ma'am.
Next order of business is the committee reports, and it's the October Finance Committee meeting. Mr. Thomas.
Two main topics. We went through the August closeout for the financials. Everything is basically on track. Revenue's in pretty good shape overall. The cancellation of the Multicultural Festival will still incur a fair number of expenses, but we won't have that picture. We were looking at August, end of month, and all that stuff won't play out until probably what we see in December, because we probably won't have the meeting next month. So that stuff is still to be determined. Frankly, from a financial perspective, not having the Multicultural Festival is saving us money, because we make no money from it, and thus we saved some amount of money. But a lot of money is still going out, and we're missing this incredible community event, which will happen next year, and it will be the 25th such event. So that will be quite great. Personnel expenses and operating expenses are pretty well on track. There'll be some juggling of personnel as openings open up and people get sort of slotted in, but overall that stuff should be in a pretty good shape. On the operating side, if you look at the numbers, they look strange because on some of the rows, we load up the expenses that we know we're going to be incurring for the rest of the year right up front, and then we just sort of pay them down, if you will, as we go through. So like all of the utilities for the year are already loaded in there, and then we sort of pay down off of that. Then of course we have some summer expenses that are uniquely summer expenses for camp. So things are not sort of at the percentage you would expect if they were to be linear, but they are all on track, even though we know that they lack the linearity. And so that was mostly it for the financials, and then we went through two memos, the fiscal year 25 budget submission memo. The top line on that is about $13 million, and we also looked at the capital projects plan as well, and the net on that is about $1.9 million in capital projects, but it is laid out sort of on a project-by-project basis. And all of that stuff, once that all is approved, we'll see that loaded into the budget as well. And we did make a motion to move those memos forward. So we will have that to work on.
So you can make that motion.
You
Yes.
can make that motion.
Well, for any questions on the committee report. All right, I move that we have staff send along those two memos, the fiscal year 25 budget memo and the fiscal year 25 capital projects and equipment memo to the Board of Supervisors.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
That's it for finance.
Thank you, Mr. Thomas. Let's scratch my X on here.
Thank you.
The next order of business is approval of that report.
So moved. Second.
It's been moved and second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Next order of business is the board member input on activities attended since the last we met. And we'll start with you.
Okay. Main one for me was last night. The
Saturday
senior-
night.
So Saturday. Today's Monday, isn't it? Okay.
Yeah.
2 nights ago.
Yeah.
Marion was looking forward to it, so Marion came, which is not so usual anymore. But we both enjoyed it tremendously. And this is kind of unusual performance, just the discussion of two very interesting people and their son. And so that was great. And if PD can find more like that, we'll go to it.
Okay.
The Brigade Festival, and it got rained out, but then resumed.
Yeah, I heard.
Into the night. To the pleasure, or not so much pleasure, of all the rest of us.
That's what I heard. Some neighbors got a little unhappy.
But anyway, yeah, I heard a little bit about it. Mostly was on vacation in Alaska. And it
Nice.
was an
Wow.
amazing experience. What
What
an
part?
amazing place.
Where'd you go? What part?
We went interior to Denali and then down the coast to the inner passage and so forth. And my granddaughter got to ride on a sled off of the glacier with sled dogs. So
Nice.
it was great.
Cool.
Wow.
Well,
You also campaigned and successfully
Okay.
retained your seat for another 3 years. Congratulations.
I hope I don't pull the title next time.
Oh, you
Stand by.
You
my
won't
life
know.
expectancy.
You got a while to
You got a
go.
long way to go.
Long way
David.
Long way to
go.
go.
Yeah, really? Seriously, that's a hard one to follow. I don't know what to say. No, you won't be. Anyway, I attended the Rusty Museum had the famous Rustonians. They kind of do that every once in a while, and that was very exciting. They had three South Lakes High Schools graduates, but they grew up in Ruston, and what they did, and one of them was her name will come to you, but one of them, she's the
Mikey Sherrill.
yes. She was really, I remember her, but it was the young lady who's the head honcho for John Legend's skin cream thing.
Yellow.
There you go. Kia, you were there with me. Kilo. She was amazing talking with her, but each of them had neat stories. But the congresswoman was phenomenal. And people, they have any questions, nobody said anything, so I stood up and asked what year she graduated and what it was like for a female at the Naval Academy. And she was very honest. And then she went on to some other things, but what a nice advocate. I mean, we'll be getting for here, but it was nice to see people moving on. And they also had, if any of you are Jeopardy fans, yeah, they had,
Eddie Tomato.
Eddie, I was going to say Freddie, but Eddie, and Eddie
Tomato.
was there. And he's like a little jokester, and his family was there, and his son was there. It was really kind of neat, but I remember watching him pulling, he's from Ruston. But growing up. So that was kind of nice to see that. And then I should have gone to everything that was Saturday night, but I didn't. There's lots going on. I'm trying to catch up with lots of different things. But I did, and this is not too much with the board, but I think it's related to it. I went to a women's summit for women business leaders, CEOs in the Washington, Dulles area. And it was quite neat. There was a few famous people there, but it was really neat to talk to women who are leading and running their own businesses and some of the things that they deal with. So the small groups were pretty important, but also the keynotes. There's a keynote speaker who does interviewing all over DC, and she's talking about how she interviewed Oprah, and it wasn't supposed to, but all the women talk about something secret that happened in their life that kind of got them where they were. It was really interesting to hear the stories. And I was invited. I wasn't going to go, but I went, and it was a good day. So, yay. That's it.
Congratulations to all the preference poll
Yes.
winners. The amazing statistic is that more than 95% of those eligible to vote
Did not.
didn't.
Seriously?
Well, I look at the glass half full, and I
5%.
It's my turn.
Excuse me. You have to wait. Executive director.
Excuse
Hold
me,
on
you
here
will
for a
have your
second.
say. Excuse me.
He gets to speak at this time.
That's right. And then I had a wonderful time on Saturday at both events, the Tefra event. I didn't have a cane, but I would have taken you anywhere, for sure. and lots of meetings. And today is the first day without baseball until tomorrow. That's sad. So like Beverly,
Until tomorrow.
like Beverly, Miggy Cabrera retired yesterday. That's sad. But like Beverly, I have something to you.
Oh.
Baseball is the greatest game of all. It breaks your heart. It is designed to break your heart. The game begins in the spring when everything else begins again. And it blossoms in the summer, filling the afternoons and evenings. And then as soon as the chill rain comes, it stops.
That was a lovely
But
meeting.
it starts again tomorrow.
Starts at tomorrow. But that's baseball.
And then basketball can start.
That's right. Folks.
I'm done.
Okay, I just want to make sure. I just want to make sure we're just
Stop
collecting
crying a little bit,
yourself.
yeah.
We're just
Stop
collecting
the
yourself.
I'll
tears.
All right.
correct myself tomorrow.
That's too
So I had a procedure on my left leg and wasn't able to make it this weekend, but hobbling around, so it'll be all right. But was able to make the Mandy Patinkin thing, but to go to homecoming, just the game.
No parade. That's for you.
I didn't go to the parade. Heather was in the parade, and so on that day I had to pick up Maggie from UVA and bring her back. And then with my leg, I just needed to rest afterwards. So didn't do anything. I did go to Human Services Council meeting, bunch of meetings. And by the way, just FYI, there won't be, at least currently planned, there won't be a South Lakes Ethics Day this school year. So the chamber is having challenges getting it funded. And so they have a substantial shortfall in funding for what it would take to make it happen in person. And so based on what I hear, they will not be doing ethics.
They're not gonna try a virtual event?
They've done it. They've done it 2 years in a row because I've done it.
So, based on what I've heard, the people that the chambers talk to are resistant to try a virtual again, and they'd rather do it in person, but they can't afford the in person, so it's sort of a bit of a bind. But I mentioned this year because there might be people who could.
Well, BB's on that board, do you have any?
Yes, so they're looking at all the numbers, and there's we'll brainstorm all different kinds of ways of reapproaching some of the previous sponsors that haven't came back. And they said if they could push it out, the event to like maybe January, February, and keep knocking on those doors, I think they'll
Might get resurrected.
Right.
All right.
And also the planning committee, they need to involve some new members to reignite
If ever we needed an ethics day.
Right.
Yes.
And then just the only other thing that I do, and I'll be doing that again on Saturday, is UVA home football games, just
Oh my
because of
God,
watching
you
the.
have to listen to 4 years of Wahoo propaganda?
So, okay, so just to be clear, actually, while this is being recorded, I will not opine on my true feelings on this. But I do want to make clear that I'm actually not really going to watch football. I'm going to watch the Cavalier Marching Band and one of the particular trumpets who is in the Cavalier Marching Band, to whom are related by blood, and whose presence there I am paying for. And so that's actually all that this is. This isn't actually about football. But we can discuss the details of that when the cameras are not rolling. And that's it.
Alright. Not a lot to report here. Obviously our festival was unfortunately canceled by the rain. And then I was gonna attend Tefra as well, but I got stuck in Tahoe. I was in Tahoe for work all last week. So I didn't get home till midnight.
Oh.
But it was okay.
Oh,
I got stuck in
We're
bed.
like
I
always
was
stuck
up at 2 in the morning. It's like,
You're flying out of
The
here.
shorts are, I was in Vegas.
Okay, everybody,
Sorry.
on this side talking.
No.
We don't have that. Okay, I went to the Jenkins event. That was just, that was amazing. And then the thing I really loved about it, because one of the things I've been looking at, I don't know, I guess because I'm older and spending all the time with a 7-year-old, is the intergenerational thing. And I always talk about Dimash, and in Kazakhstan, it is all families, they live together. They have a compound, everybody lives there, and the firstborn is given to the grandparents. Even though the mother and father are there, the grandparents raise the firstborn. And there's some interesting traditions, and you start thinking about, we don't have things like that. But anyway, I enjoyed the fact that their son was doing the queries of them, and that was very interesting. And for him to find out something that he didn't know about his parents. My favorite moment was when they did the Music Man bit.
Trouble.
They did Trouble.
River City.
The two of them as a duet. And Minda didn't know that one, so I've got to get
What?
her.
What?
I don't know how a sentient human being could not know about
It's
it.
interesting if you stop and think about it. We could be walking side by side with somebody who doesn't know half of the things that you,
Right.
you know.
Yeah.
You get to the corner and she goes that way, I go this way. So, but what's interesting, she said, "What is?" I don't. I'll have to
You
talk
had
to
to
her.
give her that cast out.
But I don't believe that was not rehearsed. And,
Oh, they've been doing
Oh,
that
they've been
together
doing that
for
a while.
years.
Yes,
They-
and yeah, the son of an actor, they've probably been doing it since he could talk.
Yeah, but they do it at home.
But they also did it at about, I don't know, 1.5 times the tempo
Yeah,
of,
yeah.
of either the show or the movie. But
That means they're good.
Yeah.
it
That's
was
what
amazing how
was
they did it
amazing.
together.
Yeah.
And the Tefra, I went to both Tefra events. It was very interesting finding out about the exhibit. And the interesting, it's great to have somebody tell you what you're looking at.
Mhm.
Because you might like something and you don't know why. And she was very good, the woman, the artist who took us around and showed us the different pieces. And also I did my Ollie concert, and I hit my D's. I always worry about those. So, next order of
Yeah,
business.
the other great thing about the Tefra event was probably 90% of the people at the event we've never seen. They were brand new people. And Mr. Gowdy and Janelle, they were all ecstatic about all of the influx of people, which was great.
Yeah, that's excellent.
The other thing I thought was interesting, Minda met her neighbor at
That we
the,
brought.
yeah, at the
The
second.
sculptor.
Yeah, at the second part, and at the first part, she met somebody who was a really good friend of somebody that she knew from the time she moved to Reston. So it was great for her, but there were a lot of unfamiliar faces at the
Yeah.
art gallery too, that was
That's a good thing when you're passing along.
Mm-hmm.
yes. Okay, next order of business is the executive director's report.
So we talked already about the Multicultural Festival. We are continuing the preparatory planning for the Energy Utilization Improvement Project and the RCC on Wheels project. We have space planning and office furnishings in progress review. We talked about the canceled festival. Our aquatics director and the aquatics personnel from Reston Association, the Y, Lifetime Fitness, Goldfish Swim School, a number of providers of learn to swim programming, our meeting and discussing how we can expand. You know, we offer free lessons. RA has a joint program with the Title I schools where they try to get the kids from school to our nearby RA pools. So that impacts a few dozen kids, and we're gonna really try to work collaboratively to see if we can't do a community-wide and pool resources and pool.
We'll pool together.
Yeah, calendars to see if we can really expand access to the early learning that's required for kids to feel comfortable in the water. We had a Crafternoon event at Crescent Apartments. We had our first offsite at Hallie Rise in late September with an outdoor painting event that a couple dozen people attended. That's a beautiful site, the farm. We went to, there was a wellness expo the chamber sponsored at the Reston Y, and our team was there to talk about our fitness offerings and to interact with business representatives. We continue to see strong enrollment. We had very, very strong ticket purchasing for the Grody Patinkin Family Show. And we are ahead of where we typically are for the Professional Touring Artist Series, I think, to some degree, because that generated a lot of attention to that. Saturday here was so cool because it was one of those typical Saturdays at RCC. We had a baby shower, we had a family reunion, there was a cultural meal celebration of some kind that involved intensely delicious smelling food.
Yes, it was.
And all of that was going on when we had the 2 shows in the theater and the little kids coming in and out all morning for swimming lessons. It was really one of those great RCC days. It was so sweet. I mentioned earlier this evening about how successful the marketing was for the festival this year. We pulled off another successful Facebook recording of the candidates forum that was available throughout the voting period. We are sad to be saying goodbye to Kaia Green, who will be relocating to Maryland to a position at Goucher College, and looking to see Bill Parker take that position in an acting capacity for the coming weeks. And also I want to mention that Leadership Fairfax announced this past week that they have hired Kia Cole-Hines, who is a daughter of Reston and has had a lot of experience at RCC, and she is succeeding Karen Cleveland, who is retiring from the CEO position at Leadership Fairfax. So we want to wish Kia the best and look forward to continuing our strong relationship with Leadership Fairfax and helping her be successful there.
Thank you. Any continuing business? Any new business?
I'd like to bring up one thing. I don't know how much the community center is involved, but when we went to the Patinkin thing on Saturday, the only place we could find a wheelchair parking place was around the side of that defunct Walgreens that has been empty for a long time. And it is completely dark. There was no light anywhere. And Marion was actually frightened because it was so dark. And of course, the reputation of this area is not wonderful. But I was wondering, do we have any ability to
I'll
tell
send a
people
note
that there
to
should be
the-
a light there?
Well, we can't make them put a
No,
light
of
there.
course not, but-
Maybe there's a fixture that isn't working, or, I don't
Yeah,
know.
there should be something, because that was not nice. No.
Okay. Notice all of the events,
Yeah, wow.
there are lots of
Lots.
them, pick and choose. So you have something to say at the next meeting.
Well, I usually speak a lot. There was a chunk of it. This time I just was those off
At
months.
least I'm not encouraging
No,
you.
no, I'm going through several already. I've already called them tonight.
You're good. Is there anything else? Anybody want to say anything? Ever hold your
The
peace?
peace, I know you
Mhm.
said.
So please watch this meeting and find out about all of these nice people that are here at the moment. And it's so great that you're coming back. I'm so glad you're back. Okay.
It was a tough
I
campaign.
know. And you gave it your all. We love
Yes.
it.
Yes.
Let it
Okay,
sweat.
we'll see you next month with the new board
Board
members.
members, yeah.
The meeting is adjourned.